Thank you for tuning in to the Black Money Tree Podcast, hosted by entrepreneur, investor, and philanthropist Jerome D. Love. We are committed to teaching you how to build wealth so that you can build your community. At the Black Money Tree, our goal is to empower wealth creation and create economic self-sufficiency in order to empower generations to come. Society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never enjoy. Season 1 is powered by Wells Fargo Bank. Welcome to the Black Money Tree Podcast.
You know, I think I had a similar story. I came out of college. I was working at a rental car company, and I was making good money, And I remember thinking, because I worked literally from about 7 in the morning, 7 at night, was so tired, went to bed about 9:30, 10, wake up, do it over and over and over and over again every day. And I remember thinking, everybody was saying, oh, Jerome got his good job. And I remember thinking, like, man, if this is a good job, I don't know what a bad one is. And I thought, what's the point of having money? What's the point of being able to afford a big house if you never have any time to spend in it, So that kind of shifted my mindset where I said I wanted to become an entrepreneur. I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship except for I didn't want to be working at this rental car company. So I just stepped out and pushed and strived. And then, we got to where we are today. So let's talk about your interest into Hollywood. How is it that you got into the entertainment business? And talk a little bit about some of the projects you've worked on in the past. And just I want people to know really who we got here talking to us right now. So talk to
well, the entertainment industry is not built for Black people, women, age, people who are over 50, over 60. It's one of the most, it's an industry that's out there for the young. If you're young, you have an opportunity to survive in an industry. As you get older, you better have a career. Well, I was able to come in as a stand-up comedian. Steve Harvey gave me my first break as a writer on his ABC sitcom, Me and the Boys. And from there, I went to Robert Townsend's sitcom, Parenthood. And I always tell Robert Townsend this day, every time I see him, I said, man, without you, I would not have had a career, because Steve Harvey gave me my first break on ABC, Me and the Boys, but it got canceled, even though it was ranked number 21 in the ratings. It got canceled. And so I had no job. And so Robert Townsend heard about my talents, and he hired me. Because he hired me, that enabled me to stay as a writer on TV for 2 more additional years. And I took that opportunity, got a phone call from Arsenio Hall. Arsenio Hall told me, hey, come write on my sitcom. I wrote on that sitcom. Then I went over to Sister T and Tamara Mara, who are still good friends of mine today. Wrote on that sitcom for 2 years. Then I went over to Jamie Foxx, wrote and produced his sitcom. And then I went over to Monique's sitcom, The Parker. So when I look at Netflix, I look at television, sometimes my name is all over Black sitcom in a positive way, because I like to believe that the sitcoms that I wrote on were all uplifting, were all positive for young Black people to look at, especially Sister, one of my favorites. Even when you look at the Monique series, it was a show about Black women who were full-figured, who felt good about themselves, who felt they were beautiful and flaunted it. And that's why that was an important part of that. When I did the Jamie Foxx series, it's about a young Black man. I took him out of the hotel and put him in a work environment, a single Black man living in a corporate environment. All these things were very key when I was writing my shows, or being a part of these shows, to show a positive lifestyle for African Americans on TV. And it was always amazing that they came back every week. And now when I look back on that part of my life, I'm equally excited, because I go, wow, that was a part of my life. But the bigger explosion of my life occurred with Steve Harvey when I started managing him in 2000. Some of his historical moments, history-making moments that we did was in of course, he's the contract that did the contract for Family Feud. When Family Feud was dead in the ratings, we resurrected it, and now it's the number one show, game show on television is Family Feud in syndication. I also did the book Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, that sold 3 million copies and was translated to 30 different languages. That was me. I marketed and branded that book worldwide, which in turn became 2 best-selling number 1 box office hits for Will Packer, who we now know is going to be producing the Oscars next year. My man, Will Packer. I'll be seeing him. In fact, I'll be going down there with Stephen A. Smith October 29th. We'll be doing his FAMU celebration where he has built an amphitheater for his HBCU alums, and FAMU and Grambling will be playing. And so my life, right now, I'm doing a tour. I've just wrapped it up for the HBCU College Day tour in September, where I went to Alabama State. I went to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and I went to Clark, Atlanta, where we brought military recruiters, corporate recruiters, and HBCU recruiters. My whole life, Jerome, is about uplifting Black people and showing Black people that they can make a difference. That's my life.
Okay, now let's focus back and get back to our core, which is wealth. We believe at the Black Money Tree that money is power. And if Black people are going to control their own destiny, they got to have money and wealth. You work with Steve Harvey, you work with Kevin Hart, you work with Jamie Foxx. Tell me some of the common threads of wealth, the wealthy people that you work with, that, let me say this too, that can be applicable to your average person. Because most people are going to say, he's Kevin Hart, I'm not Kevin Hart, I can't make money like Kevin Hart. But you don't have to be struggling to pay your bills every month. What are some of the principles that people can take from a Kevin Hart, a Stephen A. Smith, or Steve Harvey that they can apply in their everyday lives?
One thing I'm going to tell you right out, they're all hard workers. These people understand that 40 hours a week is not enough to be successful. That's the number one thing. But I want to give some people some, what I call my 5 tenets on improving yourself to victory. One, you have to identify your strengths. What are those strengths? Because like, if you can't sing, stop singing. If you can't dance, stop dancing. If you're a person who does time management very well, if you know what your strength is and focus on that. My strength is, in the end, is marketing and branding management. Okay. Yes, I'm a talented comedian. Yes, I was an excellent sitcom writer. But in the end, my strength is marketing and branding. Identify where you could use some improvement. See, what a lot of people don't want to admit that they have faults. And I tell everybody, I wake up every day dumb. And I say that basically telling people it allows for me to be receptive to new information. And then all of a sudden, consider the benefits of changing. How many people you know that won't change? You hear they use the word hard-headed. Don't see an opportunity. I'm not going to change. Especially people in the restaurant business when it comes to customer service. This the amount of portion I'm going to put on a plate. Or my hours are going to be this and I'm not going to change. Or I'm going to close on Sunday when Sunday might be your busiest day. So consider the benefits of change. And then also, number 4 will be set specific goals. Like, for instance, my specific goal is Monday through Friday, I wake up 4:30 a.m. That's when I get up. If I get up at 6, it doesn't work for me. But whatever time you decide to get up at that same time all the time. That way you have a consistent measure of what you're trying to do and your goals can be put in place, which leads to my 5th goal in improving your way to victory is being consistent. Being consistent with identifying your strength. Being consistent in showing and considering improvement. Being consistent based on the benefits of change, and being consistent by setting specific goals. When you develop those lanes of consistency, which are really simple and some of them are common sense, then you'll be victorious in generating wealth that will be different than the wealth you're living in now, because now you understand time management, you understand respect for others as well as your time. And guess what? When somebody tells you there's change, you don't consider it a criticism. You see it as an opportunity to be better.
So let's go back. I teed the episode up and we talked about money, power, and the ability to effectuate change. Now, when we met, we were in the middle of a crisis here in Houston, Hurricane Harvey. And
Yes.
Texas Black Expo, just like every other business in Houston, was shut down, didn't know what we were going to do. And I knew, based upon past experience, a lot of times a lot of these federal funds come down and it doesn't seem to trickle down to the African American and Black communities. So I said, what can I do to make a change? And we started an emergency relief fund. And of course, our common good friend, Miss Jaylene Mack, she connected us. And you were immediately like, I'm on board. I want to be a support. Not only did you say you want to be a support, a couple of days later, a pretty sizable check appeared. Then you helped to reach out to some of your other contacts that raise money. So
yes, sir.
My point in that is, while we talked about something needs to be done, we knew something needed to be done, you and I were in a position to actually do something. And that's why we encourage people, Black people, to begin to manage their money and to build wealth. Because when you have wealth, then you have power. You can make a change. So talk a little bit about the necessity of wealth building and how it can build protection for the Black community.
I'm gonna tell you something. It all starts with education. And academic play an important role on who I am and who is successful in this company. And I'm gonna tell you this, quite frankly, academics doesn't mean you have to get a college degree, but academics means you have to understand how you can hold on to your money, expand your money, and be able to delegate your money. And that's one of the reasons, because I'm gonna make a little shift here, is why I'm really talking and promoting HBCUs now, because of the fact that the academic success that comes out of HBCUs. Because a lot of people don't know, 80% of the Black doctors and dentists come out of HBCUs. 27% of the STEM graduates who are Black come out of HBCUs. 50% of the public school teachers come from HBCUs. 40% of the Black members of Congress come from HBCUs. These are numbers that the people don't understand. North Carolina A&T graduate more Black engineers than any other HBCU or predominantly white college. So it goes back to academics. It goes back to learning, because I don't care how much money you have. Drug dealers have all the money in the world, but what they forget in the whole academic process, how can I spend it? What bank can I put it in? What can I do with it? So they will sit in the house with a ton of money they can't take nowhere. So that goes back to the academics, being smart, knowing your strengths, knowing the variables, knowing the lifetime of opportunity. So when you look at me or I look at you, we've sat down here through academics. We've been blessed because we have a degree. I always tell people one thing about my degree. I don't care how bad my life gets, you can't take my degree off the wall. You cannot repo my degree. That's why it's so important to me, and that's why I brag about it, because that's something you can't take away. And I always tell people in life, position yourself so things that you have of value cannot be taken away from you. Cars can be repoed, homes can be repoed. Pride should not be repoed. It should be something you should hold on to. Academics should not be repoed because it's something that you learn. So if you take all this education, all this ability, this willpower, then you can create change and be motivated to be successful. That's the bottom line, Jerome.
No, I love it. That's great. That's great. So before we close out, let's talk a little bit about money-making conversations. You have a radio show. You've done it for many years, and you've had everybody from TD Jakes to Will Packer to, I can't name them all.
Tyler Perry, Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
Well, first of all,
so talk a little bit about money-making conversations, the mission of it, where we can listen, tune in, all that good stuff.
Definitely a platform that you can Google. Just Google Money Making Conversation or Google my name, Rushion McDonald. First of all, I want to thank you, your viewers, your listeners, for listening to what I have to say, because what I have to say is free, just like my podcast is free. And I have a clear understanding that when I die, the information I have hopefully will be shared. It will continue to be shared based on people I've influenced over the years, and they will share with people and influence them. But Money Making Conversation is a platform where I ask people to stop reading other people's success stories and start writing their own. I ask people, if you have a gift or a passion, then start leading with that gift. I also tell people, if you have a dream, don't let your age, friends, family, or coworkers stop you from living or planning your dream. And when I present that platform to them, my secret and the people I interview them is to talk to them. And as you listen to their interview, you realize they just like you. They have the same aspirations. That's why I hate racism, because racism is really a denial of opportunity. Because any person of color, any person of Black, we just want the same lifestyle, the same opportunities that a white person have. We don't want to live in a crime-infested community. We don't want to go to jail. We want a lifestyle for our children to be better than ours. We will pay taxes if you give us a job and position us to pay taxes. But racism steps in because racism is like Dr. Martin Luther King said, it's the drum major, the will to be out front, the need to be out front, the need to be first. Well, guess what? We all can be first if we understand the value of academics. We all can be first if we understand the value of what we can do by listening to other people who are successful. And that is the core of what money-making conversation is. Listening to successful people sharing their secrets to their success.
Well, there you have it, Mr. Rushion McDonald. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This was a wonderful interview. We look forward to having you back. Best of luck and success with all that you're doing.
I appreciate it. I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia. Ever come to Atlanta, Georgia, just holler at your boy.
Yes, sir. Wow, what an amazing conversation with Mr. Rushion McDonald. There's so many nuggets to that. But one of the biggest things that I took from what he said, especially at the end, is you can always learn from someone else. I know that in my life, what has helped me to grow and develop my net worth is the mentors, the people that's around me, and you can always learn from other people. I hope you took some nuggets away that's going to help you to build your wealth so you can control your own destiny. Tune in every second and fourth Thursday to the Black Money Tree podcast, and make sure you follow us on iTunes, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, and tune in next time for more with the Black Money Tree podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Black Money Tree podcast. Don't forget to like and share this video. And if you want more content like this, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We'll see you next time.